briefly discuss the background first of the SGLG before going to the criteria for us to qualify to the Seal of Good Governance. So, let us put into context ano po ang performance. So performance, as we know, is the output of our activities, di ba po? Ito po yung results of what we are doing. But in LGU, in the context of LGU, we assess the performance. Actually, ang goal po ng LGU is to deliver or to accomplish what is stated in Section 16. This is the General Welfare Act or the General Welfare Clause under the Local Government Code. And of course, how the LGU deliver their basic services as stated in Section 17 of the Local Government Code. So the performance assessment under the SGLG looks into how effective are the LGU actions, their decisions in getting near their goal, and how timely are the LGUs in reaching the goal. How efficient are the LGUs in employing the resources to achieve the goal. So the arrow from the LGU, yung icon po ng LGU, towards the red flag, which is our goal, the goal of the LGU to deliver the basic services and to achieve the general welfare, is our performance assessment. So we are looking into how far the LGU have gone towards their goal. So the uses of our performance assessment, whether it's SGLG or the POC performance functionality assessment, marami po kaming assessment, not only SGLG. Ang uses po niyan at the national level, the results are used in capacity development, incentives and awards, and of course, disciplinary actions. At the local level po, the results of our assessments are being used in planning and budgeting, of course, in legislation, and executive decisions or actions. So this is the overview of the SGLG. It started as the Seal of Good Housekeeping in CY 2010, and it won until 2012 po. Since the SGLG is a progressive assessment, nag-improve na po ang mga indicators. It is now called Seal of Good Local Governance. It is now an act or Republic Act 11292, or the act establishing the institutionalizing the Seal of Good Local Governance for local government units and allocating for this purpose the Seal of Good Local Governance funds. Just a backgrounder po, no? The Baguio City has been awarded with the Seal of Good Housekeeping way back in CY 2011 and 2012. And also, Baguio City is an awardee of SGLG in the years 2016 and 2015 po. There. We are looking to four primary things under SGLG. Ito po yung LGU capacity. This is how LGU's ability to deliver. So under LGU capacity, we're looking to the structures, the systems, the mechanisms, as well as their budget. How efficient are the structure? Do they have the necessary structure para po ma-implement lahat po ng systems, the mechanism, as well as the plan and budget? Is the CDP updated? Meron po ba tayong updated CLUP? Do we have a LDRRMO officer? Things like that. Also, we are looking to governance principles, the transparency, the participation, not only of the local legislators when it comes to the implementation of projects, but also our partnership with the private sectors, our partners, CSO, and also accountability. Under SGLG, we're also looking to supervisory functions. So, alam po natin that the Office of the President looks into the performance of the provinces, cities, HUCs, and provinces and HUCs. But in the case of HUC po, how well do they supervise their component barangays? There are the outputs and outcomes, of course, the reforms, the accomplishments of plans, the utilizations of our funds, and of course the frontline services. So we know that this is all already a law. So it has not only the LGU who passed the SGLG will not only receive before po a performance challenge fund, but now it has the funds is now insured through the GA. Ayan po, through the RA 11292. This was passed in 2019 and the IRR was released in 2020. So we already have 10 governance areas. For the LGU to pass the SGLG, we have to pass the 10 governance areas. So first, we have the financial administration, the disaster preparedness, social protection and sensitivity program, safety, peace and order, business friendliness and competitiveness, environmental management, tourism, heritage and development, culture and arts. These are the 3 areas po, governance areas that was newly introduced last year, the programs for sustainable education, health compliance, responsiveness, and youth development. There, under the RA 11292 also, there has to be a council for good local governance. They are our advisory council po. So composed of various national government agencies, because we are employing po the whole of government approach. So all of the requirements under SGLG are not only set by the DILG, but by various national government agencies. So we have, as the head is the DILG, and then we have members, the DBM, the Department of Finance, the Department of Health, DSWD, DepEd, Department of Tourism, DANR. We have DOLE, Department of National Defense, and National Anti-Poverty Commission. Under the law, the TWG was also established. So the SGLG governance areas are headed by the TWG of the Council for Good Local Governance. For financial administration, the indicators set under these governance areas was chaired by the Department of Health. For the indicators of disaster preparedness, ang chair po ng TWG dito is the OCD. Social protection and sensitivity programs by DSWD. Safety, peace and order by DILG under the Bureau of Local Government Supervision. Environmental management under DNR. Tourism, heritage, development, culture and arts for DOT. DepEd sets its indicators for programs for sustainable education. DOH sets its indicators for health compliance and responsiveness. DILG under Bureau of Local Government Development, and DTI for the indicators of business friendliness and competitiveness, and for the indicators of youth development. These were set by NYC and DILG National Barangay Operations Office. Okay, we already have the SGLG incentive fund for those who will successfully pass the requirements of the SGLG. Before, we have the performance challenge fund, but now we have a special account in the national budget. This is the Seal of Good Local Governance Incentive Fund. So assured na po siya sa national budget. So the SGLG incentive funds are being used in implementing eligible projects like the attainment of the SDG, like school buildings, rural health units, health centers, housing and settlements, etc. And then simulating local economic development like core local roads and bridges, automation of permits and licenses. For building resilience communities, for DRRCCA projects, we have flood control as its example, drainage, evacuation centers, and more. And the SGLG incentive fund may also be used for promoting ecological solid waste management, like the purchase of SWM equipment, materials recovery facilities, and others. Also, the SGLGIF can also be used in furthering the transparency and accountability like website development and equipment. There. So, ano pa ba ang benefits or package for those LGUs who will pass the SGLG? So, the national government agency shall use, not only us, of course, the SGLG assessment results as reference whenever appropriate. It's now being used by DBM for their performance-based bonus, PBB. So last year, it was not part of the criteria of PBB, kaya po tayo din nakatanggap ng PBB. It was only good financial housekeeping lang po ang criteria under PBB because we did not had any assessment. That's why hindi po siya kasama. But for this year's guidelines under PBB, SGLG is a non-negotiable criteria for BB. So the coverage of the SGLG will cover 1,715 LGUs. We have 81 provinces nationwide, 146 cities, and 1,488 municipalities. So this will be our implementation calendar. We are now trying to help the LGU to complete their documentation in preparation for the regional assessment. The regional assessment is expected this month, if not po next month, kung hindi po magbago ang national calendar for SGLG. Then the national calibration will be on July, the validation will be on July to September, and the awarding po, we are expecting that the awarding will be sometime November or October po. The DILG Central Office is planning to have its awarding synchronized with the LG Code anniversary, which is in October. So again, the passer will receive a marker and the SGLG incentive fund. For the non-passer, a certificate of recognition will be received for areas that they have passed. So most probably ganito pa rin po ang design, pero depende po sa aming Secretary Benher Abalos Jr. kung magbabago po ang design ng seal marker. So our feedback mechanism for the SGLG, we give governance assessment report or what we call GAR. So I'll color coding po siya. The way we assess is hindi po siya scoring, or it's only present, absent, yes or no. So when it's red, we mean fail. If it's green, pass. Yellow is passed under consideration. So let's take a look po the governance assessment report of Baguio City during the SGLG 2022, which covers the 2021 performance year po. Again, we would like to emphasize po, that this is only draft. We are still waiting for the our central office to release its official GAR or governance assessment report. So for financial administration, disaster preparedness, social protection and sensitivity, as well as health compliance and responsiveness, dito po tayo mahina. We pass the areas on sustainable education, business friendliness and competitiveness, safety, peace, and order. However, again, we fail in environmental management, but we pass tourism, heritage, development, culture, and arts, as well as youth development. So we allow me to share the nitty-gritty or the itemized details or the details of the GAR. Okay.